I'm Paula Camperman, Outreach Program Manager for the Bennington County Solid Waste Alliance, and I'm joined here today with Lisa Beyer, and we're going to do Trash Talk segment again, this time about special recycling, which is another type of recycling program available to all Vermonters. These are items that don't go in your recycling bin, but have other means by which we dispose of or recycle properly for keeping our environment safe.
Okay.
So some of the things that we don't put in the recycling bin specifically that are covered by this special recycling program include batteries, electronics, architectural paint, mercury, light bulbs, and mercury-containing thermostats and thermometers. So these are things that don't go in the recycling bin, as well as scrap metal that we've talked about, clothing, plastic bag, film, that sort of thing, which we'll cover in another segment.
Yep.
But that is primarily. So what I'm going to talk about today is these recycling programs that are sponsored by manufacturers to keep toxic and dangerous materials out of our landfill that impact our environment. So the first one is electronics and computers. And this is through VTeCycles.org, which includes televisions, electronics, computers, monitors, printers, peripherals, that be mice, speakers, keyboards. These items are things we keep out of the landfill. They get taken back to places like transfer stations. Not all transfer stations, you need to call ahead.
Okay.
Every town works differently. And
how does our town work?
Bennington does take electronics, yes.
Okay.
But Staples also takes electronics.
And is there a charge when you bring electronics to our transfer station?
You are allowed, I believe it's 7 items.
Okay.
I'm drawing a blank now all of a sudden. I don't want to be quoted, but check with the transfer station first. They will tell you how many items.
I was under the impression that you had to either wait for a special promotional program or something that you could take them to. I didn't realize that you could just take them whenever they're open, and you may or may not have to pay a fee.
That's correct.
Okay.
There are things that are covered by the program that are fee-free, and then there are other items that they can take that they will charge you a fee for.
Okay.
So that's part of it. Also, the Take Back program, a lot of people get confused with our household hazardous waste collection events, which are something that we do take back a number of the items within this program, but not electronics.
Okay.
And, hot off the presses, yes, we received a grant from the Department of Environmental Conservation's Agency of Natural Resources, matching grant to build a permanent household hazardous waste collection facility at the Bennington transfer station.
Oh, how wonderful.
So instead of waiting for that 1, 2, 3 days a year to wait in line to bring your whatever, this is going to be something that's going to be open from the months of May through October, 2 days a week, where people can come in, probably by appointment to make sure that there is somebody there always, and to take your materials.
So what kinds of things would be included in that?
That would be things that are toxic, such as batteries, chemicals, fluorescent bulbs, mercury.
Paint?
Paint, yeah, but paint can actually be taken back anytime throughout the whole year at Sherwin-Williams.
Okay. And
RK Miles or Aubuchon or Miles Lumber.
Okay.
They take back up to 5 gallons a day. That's another program that's in the list here. Up to 5 gallons a day in its original container with the lid as well. So you don't want to mix the paint to try to save time and effort by throwing it all in one bucket and handing it to them. They don't want it that way because they can't tell what was in there. So they will take architectural paint, which would be your latex, your primers, your lacquers, your varnish, your oil-based, what else am I forgetting? Stains, enamels.
And then what do they do with it?
They make it into new paint. Now this is sponsored by buying paint at these paint stores in Vermont. Vermont can charge, the paint stores can charge a fee in Vermont to offset the cost of this program.
Right.
But you don't have to buy Sherwin-Williams paint and then return it to Sherwin-Williams. You can buy it anywhere.
I could buy paint anywhere and bring it to Sherwin-Williams or any of these places and they'll take it.
Correct, yes. So that is, more information can be found at that at paintcare.org.
Okay, and we will put that up on the program and make sure that everybody knows that.
Yes. The third program is batteries. That is also taken back at household hazardous waste collection events.
Okay.
But is also taken back at transfer stations, at RK Miles, and Miles Lumber, and what else am I thinking here? I'm drawing a blank here. Obashan used to. I don't believe they do anymore. But most transfer stations do take them back.
Okay.
So what you'll do is you bring the batteries in, and this is including AA, AAA, C, D, 9-volt, button cell, hearing aid, rechargeable, lithium ion. Basically, these are batteries that are real important, not only just to keep out of landfill, but to keep away from transfer stations because they can cause fires.
Okay.
Case in point, I don't know if it was a battery, but there was a big fire at Sunderland. It burned to the ground, and it could have been a battery. And as lithium-ion batteries are everywhere. Think of the Internet of Things. Things that are battery-operated. The greeting card that sings to you has got a lithium battery in it. You know, all the e-materials, the e-bikes, all that are batteries that have to be recycled properly, and they can't go in the trash.
So right now, what do you recommend people do with them? Take them to the transfer stations?
Yes.
Separately?
Yes.
So
what you're going to do is you bring your batteries, you're going to tape the ends off so that they don't come in contact with other devices, like your lithium ion. The little button batteries, you lay out a piece of 2-inch packing tape and lay your little buttons down from your batteries or your hearing aids or whatever, your toys, and put another piece of tape over it so it's sealed in. Same thing on the batteries. You want to make sure the contact ends are covered in tape so they don't make contact with others.
So your AA and all of that.
Yeah, you can tape all those.
Tape them. And then what do they do with them?
They take them and ship them back to a company that actually takes the minerals out and recycles them. Excuse me. Yes.
Okay.
The fourth program is mercury light bulbs. Now, these are basically limited to whatever the retailer wants to take in. Usually it's like 8 or 10 that wants to take them back, and transfer stations. You could take an unlimited number of CFLs. Those are the coily, springy things, to a retailer or to a transfer station. The rest of them are tubes anywhere from 2 foot long, 4 foot, 8 feet. They'll take up to 8 feet in some cases.
Okay.
These could be high intensity discharge, HID, mercury vapor, U-tube, ultraviolet bulbs, neon tubing, circulines. You're going to look for the phrase that either contains mercury or has the Hg, which is the chemical symbol for mercury, on the bulb itself, to know that it's not like an LED bulb.
Right. So how do you dispose of LED bulbs?
Trash. They don't really have any recycling program for those.
Okay.
No broken bulbs. That's really hazardous. And there are instructions on Vermont's website on how to deal with a broken bulb. Okay. Lamprecycle.org is the trade website to help guide you in understanding the program and how it works.
Interesting.
Now, there's a thermostat program. If you have an old mercury-containing thermostat, those are the ones that's got the little, kind of the little silver thing in there, and you can see it, and you pull off the cover. You're going to take the entire mercury thermostat back to retailers. This is not something that the transfer stations take. This is just a few retailers that work. FW Web, Granite City Electric, places like that, Bennington Cooling and Heating. These are retailers that will accept that old thermostat back and in exchange give you a $5 rebate or a credit toward a new purchase of a new programmable thermostat.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it is a really good program. Now, what this is part of a larger movement of trying to get more material diverted from our landfills.
Right.
So what that means is getting items that are typically thrown in the trash because we have no program, and developing a program. Getting ahead of it by having industry-led initiatives.
Right.
There's ones now for carpet and rubber tires and mattresses in other parts of the country. So it's a matter of just adding another ones. There's legislation being built and discussion in Vermont about getting rid of household hazardous waste and making that something that is banned from the landfill and an industry-sponsored program for take-back.
Right.
So it's full cycle. So it means they're getting it out of the waste stream, not us. They are. So they have a program to bring it back.
Yep.
A recent program, as I mentioned in another segment, in Maine and Oregon, did the same sort of philosophy about single-use packaging. That means pouches, bags, packaging that's going in the trash but is causing us to have to pay for it as municipalities and taxpayers for material that's produced by a manufacturer. So they are mandating a law now that puts in place, they got to get that stuff out of the waste stream and not make it our cost or our responsibility. So that's part of that. So this is new initiatives. I'd love to see a mattress one coming in because that's so bulky.
Are there other products that you wish we had a place to recycle? So one of the ones is mattresses.
Yeah, because 80% of the material within a mattress is recyclable. It doesn't need to go in the landfill. And that material can be used in other things, whether it be another mattress or something else. Exactly. And there is a guy up in Chittenden County that does that. And I, we've had him at meetings saying, can you work down here? And he says, I'm doing everything I can just to keep up with what I've got. It's crazy. It's something he just kind of started and he realized how easy it was to break it down and make the materials usable and how bulky the materials are, but yet you can really take it down to, the coils, the inner lining.
Well, and most of that, they aren't really making mattresses like that anymore. So most of them are, the memory foam and stuff like that now that are being produced. For the most part, don't you think?
Oh, they still use coils.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the coils are still usable, and foam, all the other things can be broken down and used into some of the things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they could be used in car upholstery. They can, to foam to fill in seats, couches, that sort of thing. So it's a lot of different uses. So there's definitely different products out there that we can just continue to work on. But it takes work to legislate, to build this material programs going. But it is the next forefront, as I should say, to push industries to get ahead of legislation. And that's what these are. They're ahead of legislation. They're saying, we're going to get in front of it so we aren't mandated to do what we have to do. This is something we're going to do because it's the right thing to do, and we can use the materials again and make a full cycle to keep it out of the landfills.
It's fascinating. It'll be interesting to see how this grows and what other things we can recycle. In my mind, I'm trying to go through this and think, well, what other things are we throwing out that could have a different life?
Well, there's...
I'm sure you have a list in your mind.
Yeah, but even so, there's like a company called TerraCycle, which you may have heard of.
I've heard of.
They are a very nimble and savvy company that works to find ways to recycle hard-to-recycle items. Case in point, they partnered with Walmart and Target to recycle car seats. Because there's so much mixed material in there, and yet you don't have them for a whole long time, a couple years or less. As your child grows out of the stages of the car seat, it ends up in the landfill. But they have found ways to get millions out of the landfill by giving them back through the retailers to cooperate, and TerraCycle then breaks them down and finds the parts to ways to get them back into the recycling.
Interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Same thing with, there is a collection program right now going on through Subaru that takes back your old Halloween candy wrappers,
oh my goodness,
cups, packages of chips, snack things in dump bins in the lobbies of Subaru dealerships.
And then what are they doing with that?
And they're taking it back to TerraCycle, who's finding ways to recycle it.
Okay.
Lundgren Subaru here in Bennington is a participating drop-off point.
Interesting.
Yep. So it's a great program. I just discovered that in the last week, hence Halloween.
Yeah, there you go, Halloween.
But all of these programs that I've talked about have very specific guidelines and drop-off points, and each one of them can be found at our website at bcswa.org. Our brand new website, I must add.
Right.
That's really zippity-doo-dah because it's got great resources, an expanded list of content pages and downloadable flyers to help people understand how these programs work, which you can just hand off and put on your bulletin board or your refrigerator to keep track of what you
Right.
need to do to collect the items.
That's great.
Definitely.
So we will definitely make sure that we get that website up on the title of the program so that people can look at it. But thank you again for all of the really useful information and ways that we can lessen the amount of materials in our landfills.
Glad to do it.
Thanks, Paula. See you next time.